Good morning. I am the Reverend Denise Gouch. My pronouns are she, her, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to worship with the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. Our projectionist this morning is Debrina Dills. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant with each other. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I'd like to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us this morning. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. If you have questions about our congregation, please do contact me. You can find my email address in the staff directory under Contact Us on our website, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you are with us for the live broadcast of this service on Zoom, you may wish to experiment with the view settings at the upper right corner of your screen. And won't you please say hello in the chat? We love knowing who's here. No matter what platform you're using to join us for worship, you can find helpful information like ways to give, faith development resources for all ages, and more in the worship portal on our website, firstuunash.org. This morning, we are celebrating all the good stuff that's been happening in children's religious education this year, and we are so glad you are joining us for worship.
My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm delighted to serve as your Director of Music Ministries. Our hymn accompaniments this morning are provided by Holling Smith-Bourne, and a little later on, you'll hear from our former Children's Music Coordinator, Karina Daza. Our morning song is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. And while the lyrics will appear on your screen, I'll also line them out. So if you are familiar with Zoom and are joining us for worship this morning, you are welcome to use your view settings in the upper right-hand corner to celebrate and sing with our gathered community. Won't you join me in singing? Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Good morning. I'm Marguerite Mills, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and my pronouns are she, her. This morning's call to worship comes from Ren Bellevant's Grace. In praise of computers and routers and servers and all the hardware and software that can help us build connectedness. In praise of all the gremlins that live in the machines and bug our programs and help us to practice patience. In praise of the trolls who dwell in the internet and push us to live out our first principle in real time. In praise of power surges that eat our data and devour our final draft. For giving us the opportunity to rebuild and remember that our work is as much transient as it is transcendent. In praise of the error page not found, which reminds us that with some people, we need to find new paths to make connections because not everyone uses the same keywords. In praise of servers that drop our connections, which reminds us that all who serve have built-in limits to their capacity. In praise of communication and connection, whether it is face-to-face or Facebook to Facebook. We always risk errors, hurt feelings, and misunderstanding, but it is also always worth the risk. Welcome to Religious Education Sunday, the pandemic version, to celebrate a year that has indeed been worth the risk.
Good morning. My name is Eileen Finan, and I am the senior co-chair of the Religious Education Committee. My pronouns are she and hers, and this is Iris Holman, hi, my daughter. And this morning's chalice lighting comes from Julianne Lepp. So we'll start with the chalice lighting itself. Make sure we can do it. There we go. All right, hang on. There we go. We seek our place in the world and the answers in our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths.
Good morning. My name is Susie Wilcox. My pronouns are she and her, and I am a member of the Religious Education Community. This year I have taught pre-K and first grade with Suzanne LeBeau. This year seemed like it was going to be quite a challenge, but I think we made it through quite admirably. Fun set out treasure boxes with supplies for any craft ideas that we would undertake throughout the year. And here's an example of some of the things your children received: scissors, colored pencils, markers, crayons, paints, and of course glue. Then we sent out materials to make chalices that kids could light at home, and the kids almost always had their chalices. We sent out colored paper. And then finally, the most fun thing was a rainbow principle wand that we used when we sang our song. So we created a covenant, and our covenant said that we would have fun and we would dance, and we certainly did. We covered all 7 of the principles this year, and we used fun and colorful online stories and songs that we did. We had a routine every week. We played and danced. There was always lots of singing and dancing. We stressed the ritual of our gathering with our children by lighting and extinguishing the chalice, and we did joys and concerns every week. So it's been a fabulous year. And even though we were on Zoom, we watched the children grow and become more involved. And I want to give a shout out to the parents. We had wonderful parents. They had their kids on Zoom ready to go. They had the materials. And then most importantly, they kind of stepped back and just let their child participate with us. So it was great. It was a great year. Thank you so much for that opportunity. And thank you very much for sharing your children with us.
Good morning. I'm Christopher Cotton, and my pronouns are he, him. I have taught the 2nd to 4th grade class this year with Marguerite Mills, and we've talked about what we need in our Unitarian Universalist toolboxes in order to live out our values. So please join me in our Minecraft world as I take you on a short tour just to show you a couple of those things. So if you're not familiar with it, Minecraft is a place where you can destroy blocks or mine them. You can also place things or place objects, like you can see there. Even though we couldn't be part of the regular flower commune, we took the time to build flower gardens or shapes representing flowers you can see here. And everybody did their own version of it. There wasn't a specific way that you had to do it. Another part that we actually did is looking at atonement and the balance we need to restore when we make a mistake. So some people made balances, some people drew things that had a scale and made them equal on either side. I ended up putting fish in them. I'm not sure why, but it's one of the things you get to do is be yourself. We also talked about thresholds, and it's the entrance and exit from a place. And so we talked about creating a sacred place. You can see this as a threshold, and I made it clear so you could actually see the outside world too. One of the other things we talked about was integrity and how to find yourself. As Dumbledore says, you have to choose between what is right and what is easy, and using a compass to find your way through a maze. Everybody made their own maze and lots of different variations of it. So we've talked about many other items in the toolbox and built lots of other places as representations of the stories. So be sure to actually ask your kids and have them show you what they built. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Colin Garrett and my pronouns are he, him. I've been a member of FUN since 2017. The year before that had been really hard. I was stressed out and emotionally raw. And so with the new year, I decided to put more effort into meeting people and finding a community. I'm a bit of an introvert though. And at first I just came for the service, made sure I had some cash for the offering bowl, and quickly left without really speaking to anyone. But one week I noticed an announcement in the weekly bulletin that the church was looking for volunteers to help with the sound system during services. Well, I'd never done anything like that, but I'm techie and it sounded fun, so I jumped in. And that's when I really started getting involved in the church. As the keeper of the microphones on Sunday morning, I got to know the staff and other members involved in worship and started to feel more a sense of belonging with the community. Fast forward a bit, and now we're over a year into a global pandemic, and so many things about church have changed. One of those things is that I've been able to join in RE. Last summer, Marguerite asked a couple of us if we could run games one Sunday a month on Zoom. It would give us all some variety and help keep the kids engaged. And it's been really fun. Jason, Christopher, and I have collaborated on bringing a new game or activity each month. We've role-played through Halloween Town, played Pictionary, and honed research skills with an online scavenger hunt, among many others. Our kids are so great, y'all. They're smart and they're funny, and I've had a blast playing games with them this year. I've found that the more involved I've been in the church, the more I've gotten back. Of course, buildings and programs aren't free, and our staff deserve fair pay. And that's why I give my time and money to FUN, and I hope you will consider doing so too.
Thank you, Colin, and thank you to everyone who contributes to the Children's RE program. It is just so wonderful to see what you've done this year. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. Our Share the Plate partner for the month of May is the Unitarian Universalist Mental Health Network, whose work promotes the inclusion of people affected by mental health issues in the life and work of our congregations and in society at large. You can learn more about the network in the worship portal at firstuunash.org, where you can also find the link to our online donation form. As always, your gifts, like your presence among us, is received with gratitude.
We are all the colors of the rainbow, each of us unique, yet united as a whole. Every single you, a blessed individual. Together we live these rainbow principles. Red stands for respecting other people. Orange, offering fair and kind treatment. Yellow puts the yearning in your learning. Red, orange, yellow starts the rainbow principles. We are all the colors of the rainbow, each of us unique, yet united as a whole. Every single you, a blessed individual. Together we live these rainbow principles.
Green, growing your search for truth and meaning. Blue, believe in what you are achieving. Indigo, insist on freedom, love, and peace. Violet, value the web that does not cease. We are all the colors of the rainbow, each of us unique, yet united as a whole. Every single you, a blessed individual. Together we live these rainbow principles.
Let us pause for a moment now to breathe together and to join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love. Some years bring challenges. Every year brings challenges that we did not expect. And yet, we know that together we will be community. Together we will find ways to connect, to build what needs building, to comfort each other, to support and encourage each other, to share with each other all that is our life. And we are grateful for the richness, for the many colors, the unique self that is each of us, and the precious ways in which we live together, grow relationships, and build community. May we continue to learn how to live together, to create more love, to work for justice, to build a better world for all of us. May it be so. May we be so. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Chaz Sisk, and my pronouns are he and him. And I was a co-teacher of the 5th and 8th grade class along with Jason Plummer. And we've talked about what we focused on was world religions, our neighboring faiths, and we reinforced those teachings by building houses of worship in Minecraft for each of the religions that we studied. And it's been a hit. I mean, the kids have really enjoyed coming back. We had a good group of about 7 to 10 kids every week who are into Minecraft and hopefully learned a little bit about the faiths of the world. So join me in our Minecraft world, and I'll take you on a brief tour of a few of the builds that we did. Okay, so we're going to start with a synagogue that this is actually our first lesson, was meant to coincide with Rosh Hashanah, and you'll see it here approaching. And this was a shared world that we were all in. So all the kids worked together on these houses of worship. And one of the things that this was great for doing was teaching teamwork. We had to talk about how the buildings were going to look and divide up the work and those kinds of things. And they each had their own little ideas that really made them their own. You'll see these blue and white flags here. Obviously, that's off of the Israeli flag. And we're kind of coming into the house of worship here, the synagogue. And this was modeled after, I believe, a synagogue in Jerusalem. I'm not sure exactly, if I remember correctly, which we were looking at. We looked at a few different synagogues, different houses of worship to go off of. One of the lessons, obviously, Unitarian Universalism. And I think you'll see from the chimney and the roof that they drew inspiration from a particular church, a Unitarian Universalist church that they're familiar with. So also the world of Minecraft, you know, it's not just they were able to build these buildings, they also built a lot of these things around them. The vines there you see to the left, that's something that they created to try to give some landscaping and things like that. So, and you see there's kind of a gathering place in the back for people, I think similar to our own at our church. And I think we're going to swoop in here for a second and just kind of see a little bit of the inside. Thanks to Jason for putting together this video. He was our tech wizard all around, set up the server that the kids all joined into. And you'll see the little banners there. I think I modeled after our own logo for our church. And there's some side rooms here and able to kind of walk around. And at the end here, you'll see to the left as we're finishing up here, there's the flaming chalice for the church. We also didn't just look at the major face of the world, but also spent some time talking about indigenous religions of the world. And they sort of took their own spins on some of these things. I think what you'll see here is there's a grove of trees that really wanted to stress the earth-centered nature of indigenous religions. They also came together to create a goddess, which is as you can see in the middle there, it's a sun goddess. So really trying to build something here that shows the connection of people with the seasons. And then the last one we're going to look, oh, actually we have two more to go. We have Christianity is next. So we did a couple different versions of Christianity. I believe this is the Protestant church here. We also did a Catholic church. But here, you'll see they did some outbuildings and different other features here. Like there's a graveyard. They wanted to build a graveyard along with it. This is actually kind of a whole village. And these lines here you see that are shooting out to the sky, these are beacons. That's a feature of Minecraft. It's a wayfinder. This is actually a really, really big world that we're in. We're jumping all over, but there was one of the challenges was finding a place to build and then often getting everybody in the same spot. But so those beacons help them find their way. And then finally, we're going to talk about Buddhism. You see these pink flowers here. These are meant to be to represent lotus blossoms. We talked a bit about the lotus and the significance of it in Buddhism. Also, that animals are a big feature of Minecraft. So when the cows here, when we did Hinduism, of course, figured in pretty clearly. Here's I think this is meant to be a Torii. And then finally, just kind of approaching our temple itself. We looked at a few different temples. Some in particular that were close to our hearts is some in Taipei from my wife and I from our travels there. So anyway, so that is our quick tour of our Minecraft world. And I appreciate all of you parents for letting us share your kids with us. I learned a lot about some of these religious structures, and it was a real pleasure, and look forward to teaching them again in the next year.
Good morning. I am Reverend Holly Miller, and my pronouns are she and hers. I'm a youth advisor along with Elizabeth Lyserson and Shannon Hayes. Obviously, youth group has looked different for us this year, as has church involvement for the entire community. Our focus in youth group was on finding ways to connect across the distance. We did this in several ways. We played Dungeons and Dragons, getting to spend time together as other people and creatures. We did this through writing workshops and at-home scavenger hunts, where we got to show each other new parts of ourselves and get to know each other better. And one way that we stayed connected was through simultaneous baking. Several times throughout the year, we'd all make the same recipe at the same time while on Zoom together. We'd show each other our works in progress and chat while our baked goods were in the oven, and then share how differently they all turned out in our own individual kitchens. Just like the youth group, we were focused on connection and working towards the same goals, and everybody did it just a little bit differently. From croissants to cinnamon roll wreaths to decorated sugar cookies, we found ways to be ourselves together, to connect across the distance.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Diane Daugert, and I first want to thank everyone who's participated in the religious education program this year, from teachers and advisors and parents and children and youth, and a special shout out to your amazing Director of Religious Education, Marguerite Mills, for putting together a creative and engaging program for children and youth. I'm joined here this morning by River Plummer and their father, Jason Plummer. We're acknowledging River as they graduate from high school and spread their wings into the world. River, this is a momentous time in your life. The transition from childhood into adulthood. It's like standing on a bridge between two shores. Many have crossed this bridge before you, but not in the same way as you. Your experience of your senior year has been vastly different from those who traveled this bridge before. And I truly hope that in the years to come, that you will look back on this time in your life and marvel at the tenacity and creativity that it took for you to reach this milestone. Graduating high school is always a proud accomplishment, one made more so by the uncertainty and challenges of learning and studying during a global pandemic. That alone would be enough. But you also participated in and provided leadership to the youth group here at church, staying connected virtually, hanging out together online with your advisors and the rest of the youth group, cooking and doing crafts, playing games and learning together, supporting each other through the loneliness and isolation of needing to be physically apart from each other. It is the tradition of this congregation at the time of a child dedication to present the child with a rose that has been stripped of its thorns. And through the grace of the US Postal Service or delivery people of some sort, we managed to provide roses for our ceremony today. So too, we mark this ceremony with a rose, one with its thorns intact, as a symbol of how the congregation has done its best to prepare you to withstand the inevitable thorns of life. We present you with a rose in the hopes that thorns and all, as you journey forth into your adult life, that you may unfold and blossom like the unfolding and opening petals of the rose. And again, by the graces of the Postal Service and their time schedule, you will be receiving 2 additional gifts from the congregation: a subscription to the UU World magazine and a water bottle inscribed with the principles of Unitarian Universalism, things that will equip you for the journey ahead. River, you are a blessing to this congregation and to the world. Wherever your journey may take you, know that you always have a home here at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville.
Well, our youth start their check-ins with a North Star. Someone chooses something: favorite season, best science fiction story, what kind of animal they'd be if not human, and tells the group their choice and why. And they go around, each person offering their response. Then it's on to check-in as usual. But this time, let's leave it till later. That will give us all a few minutes to think about it. As I was putting this all together, what I felt most was gratitude, and even more so now as we work our way through this service. I am grateful for people, for changes, learning, essential workers, surprises, questions, and gratitude for some things that are not here, like answers to all the questions. I'll come back to that. Meanwhile, Gertrude Stein said, silent gratitude isn't much use to anyone. And so I'm going to name a whole bunch of people here. The Children's Religious Education Committee: Eileen Finan, Jennifer Hackett, Harmon Nine, Jason Plummer, Chaz Sisk, Ed Tarnley, Susie Wilcox, and Jessica Young. The Youth Advisors: Shannon Hayes, Elizabeth Leiserson, and the Reverend Holly Muller. and the others who helped teach and served as special guests: Christopher Cotton, Colin Garrett, Suzanne LeBeau, Victoria Harris, and Spanky, Bob Day, Reverend Diane, and the Committee for the Larger Faith. They're all heroes in my book. So are the kids and youth, and so are their parents. For that matter, so are you. We're all still here, or here again, or here soon, together, in whatever ways we're able. And the lack of answers? Well, it's like Rilke said, maybe we're not ready for them yet. Maybe we have to live our way into them. I think that Rilke's instruction to first love the questions might be where we are right now. At any rate, it's a place to start. Now, kids and youth are great at starting. Every moment, day, year includes so much that's new, so much for which they have no existing frame of reference or context yet. From first steps to senior and alternative proms, so much happens in just 18 years. Not that it's easy, but it's the norm. Norm, as in normal. I try to remember that that could be a hazardous word right now, maybe even a dirty word. Attachment to outcome, disappointment, anger, not good stuff. But when the unknown and change are themselves the norm, it's quite different. If only we humans weren't so drawn to expectations. Speaking of which, expectations that is, and the dependence on time that represents, and not to mention the white supremacy that it can represent. One of the things that happened to me in this past year is that I gradually stopped wearing a watch. When I realized what was happening, I got this bracelet. It says on the outside, note to self. And on the inside, it says, let it go. I've been wearing and depending on a watch for decades. And surprisingly, it's been a joy to stop. So let's go back now to asking, what is our North Star? And this morning, I think I'd like that to be who, not what. Who is your North Star? For me, it's our children and youth. It's what I've learned and relearned from them this past year, and what I hope to carry forward into whatever comes next. As you've seen, Minecraft has been big. I didn't know there was also Minecraft music, but I learned that from Holly. And I barely knew that Minecraft existed a year ago, but I've learned about it much more than I ever thought I would or could. It also taught me yet again that kids are both competitive and cooperative, hilarious and serious. I relearned the joy and abandon that comes with small things. Things like ribbons on a stick or a chalice made of a flower pot. Baking together illustrated and reinforced an appreciation for our similarities and our differences. So much more. As I move forward into the next weeks, months, year, I hope that I can remember to learn new things and that I can learn new things, to welcome all sides of myself, to find joy in small things, to appreciate each of you for what we have in common and for the ways that we're different. I admit that I felt anxious about how I'll step into whatever comes next, but I'm working on it. And here now in your company, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So, who is your North Star?
Thank you, Marguerite. I'd like to invite you into the North Star that is a song that has been sung in Unitarian Universalist congregations all over the world. Spirit of Life by Carolyn McDade. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Greetings. My name is Jason Plummer. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm the junior co-chair of the Religious Education Committee, and alongside Chad Sisk, I taught the 8th grade class this year. With me is my firstborn, Trevor, and my alarm system. This morning's chalice extinguishing comes from Sarah York. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and, renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown.
Our benediction comes from Eric Williams. Blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that has heard the call. Blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift that you will receive by going. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go forth in peace. This service is over. May our service to each other and to the world continue renewed.